ESPN Plus put out an article a couple of days ago, and they listed the Green Bay Packers as a possible team that could be trading up in the upcoming 2025 NFL Draft. So I ask you today, could the Packers be making a big move? We got a lot of rumors to break down, talking about the 2025 NFL Draft, and then we'll talk about 3 guys I think they could be targeting with a possible trade up. But before that, I need you guys to hit that subscribe button, okay? What we're talking about comes from ESPN Plus, and they charge you $120 a year for this content. Guess what we're giving it for you? $0 a year, 0 down, 0 interest, $0 right here. So you got to hit us up, help me out, hit that subscribe button, lock us in because we do things like this all the time, bring you every single day videos for the Green Bay Packers. So ESPN Plus, like mentioned off the top, named Green Bay as a potential trade-up team. They listed 6 teams, might have been 7, I forget. And they said this team's either going to trade up, they believe this team's either going to trade down. And they said the Packers were a team they would not be surprised if they made a move to move up a couple of spots in the NFL Draft. This is what Bill Barnwell had to say. Outside of his forays into free agency, General Manager Brian Gutekunst has rebuilt Green Bay's roster by leaning heavily into the draft. His team has as many as 8 potential starters from its 2022 draft class alone. It has been the league's youngest team on a snap-weighted age basis in each of the past 2 seasons. This is a deep, talented team. If the Packers think there's somebody like that in this draft, especially at wide receiver or edge rusher, they should give serious thought to taking a bigger swing by sacrificing some draft capital. Let's talk about that draft capital, shall we? This is how the draft picks are looking for the Green Bay Packers right now, sitting with about 8 picks. One of those, of course, being the second, 7th round pick is the compensatory draft pick that the Green Bay Packers were awarded. But you know what? This is not a ton of capital, but I think it's enough. Because you look at some teams like the Baltimore Ravens, they've got 11 picks. But then you look at some teams like the Minnesota Vikings, and I believe they've got like 4 draft picks, okay? So you could deal with a little bit more capital. You could want a little bit more capital, but I think 8 picks is enough to move some things around and to make a move in the first round to move up. What say you, though? Before we break it down any further, should the Packers trade up in the draft? Or do you think they should just stay put at pick number 23? You give me your answer in the comment section down below. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. When that time comes, scroll down the comment section, find this pinned comment, and give me a yes or a no. We got to remember that Jair Alexander can be a player that can be used for more draft capital as well. There haven't been many updates as of recently on his trade status. I know that as of a couple weeks ago, as of last week, even reports came out that they are still trying to trade away Jair Alexander. It's obvious that they haven't been blown away by any offers so far, and so that's why I kind of think they're sitting, waiting for something to happen. But if they will trade him, it will happen before the NFL draft, okay? I could promise you that. So you could add to those draft picks as well and then use that to go up. Let's talk about past trade-ups for the Green Bay Packers because they've done this a good bit. A lot of times we think of this team, and we think of them as a team that doesn't really make any big splashes, doesn't really make any big moves. They kind of tend to just sit on their hands when it comes to free agency and making anything big happen. But that's not the case, right? It's happened in a successful way before. Jair Alexander, Jordan Love, both of those draft picks were guys you traded up to get. However, there have been a couple of times where it didn't work out as well. Darnell Savage comes to mind, Amari Rodgers as well. Let's look back at the Love trade. You traded up from pick number 30 to pick number 26 of 4 spots, and you only had to give up a 4th round pick with that in the 2020 draft. Of course, that landed you your QB1 of the future. Go back 2 years prior, Jair Alexander, this one was a little bit of a bigger deal. You gave up a 1st round pick, a 2nd round pick, and a 6th round pick to the Seattle Seahawks. However, you got back there first. You moved up 9 spots from 27 to 18, and then you also got there 7th at pick number 248. So coming up, I'm going to tell you 3 names, 3 guys in this draft that I think could possibly be targets for the Green Bay Packers to trade up for. Okay, but before I get into those, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I said it off the top. This thing's 100% free, and we do it every single day, okay? So you got to subscribe. Join us for the ride. Daily videos, breaking news coverage, latest news and rumors So join the 2,400 cheeseheads that we've already got with us right here on the Packers Report. Let's talk about a guy that we talked about just yesterday, Tetairoa McMillan, wide receiver out of the University of Arizona. Jordan Reed from ESPN Plus had this to say about the wideout. Arizona wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan held a private workout for scouts Monday afternoon, participating in the 40-yard dash and running routes. Brian Gutekunst of the Packers was the lone NFL general manager in attendance per sources. So it's already obvious that Brian Gutekunst is interested in Tetairoa McMillan. So why wouldn't I put him as my number one trade target for this team? Because this one actually seems realistic to me. I said it yesterday. I'm going to reiterate it again today. It means something that Brian Gutekunst was there. It means something that Goody was the only general manager in attendance for those private workouts. You know what that means, in my opinion? It means they're interested, okay? And we've seen a good amount of mock drafts where Tetairoa McMillan has fallen to pick 23. We've also seen a good amount where he's gone by pick number 12, pick number 15, pick number 16, 17. And I truly believe that if he's there when the Green Bay Packers are a few picks away from being on the clock, they might think about going up and getting him, okay? He's got a lot of good to talk about. I think there's a really obvious reason, and there are really obvious reasons that the Packers are interested in him. He's got a massive frame. He's also really fluid and smooth, even with his 6'4" size. When he gets the ball, he's very good and run after the catch, right? He can make guys miss with multiple different ways. He can win his routes and press coverage in multiple different ways. And with that massive frame comes a really big catch radius as well. Let's talk about Shemar Stewart. Let's go over to the defensive side of the football, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. And I'm going to start by saying this. I'm a little bit scared about Shemar, okay? I think it's too high of a risk. I would stay clear of Shemar Stewart. I get it. He tested out of the gym. I get it. A lot of people think he's going to be a freak of nature. I get it. A lot of people see that the traits that he has. However, what I see is 4.5 sacks in 37 games played. I see 79 pressures in 37 games played. I see 12 tackles for loss in 37 games played. If he falls to you at 23, that's a whole nother thing. But to trade up to get this guy is too high of a risk for me. I don't think this is the year that you need to take that big of a swing and take that big of a risk in the first round of this draft. If you believe that this guy's floor is he's out of the league in 3 years, which could be the case for Shemar Stewart if he produces like he did in college, then it's not worth it. Okay? It's not worth it one bit. Let's round this one out with a cornerback target, Jahdae Barron out of the University of Texas. You all know how much I love Jahdae, okay? I think Barron is going to be a star. I honestly have him higher. I have him rated higher than Will Johnson, quarterback out of Michigan. I think he's going to be the best corner outside of Travis Hunter in this draft. Okay, he reminds me a lot of Jair Alexander. And that's why I think he could be a perfect Jair Alexander replacement. I'm not saying he's going to come in here and in year one he's going to do the things that Jair Alexander has done in his career. I'm not saying that. Jair Alexander, he's a Pro Bowler, right? His 2021 season was, left a lot of people speechless. But Jahdae Barron and him are very, very similar. They've got great length. They're great in press man coverage. They're great with their speed, able to keep up with those burner-type wide receivers. And so I'd have all the confidence in the world for Jahdae Barron to turn into a Jair Alexander-type player after a few years in the National Football League and to come in year one, be good enough to give this team a lot of really good reps at that quarterback spot. So if I give you those 3 targets, pick one for the Green Bay Packers to trade up for. Is it Tetairoa McMillan, Shemar Stewart, or Jahdae Barron? You let me know in the comment section down below by giving me a TM, an SS, or a JB. As always, before you get out of here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate every single one of you for always tuning into these videos. Lock us in right now, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.